you can't be a leader unless you've got a very good team, and I've got a fantastic team.
So
Looking lovely as always. Namaste ji.
Namaste. It's my absolute privilege and honor to have you as my guest today. Welcome to Chat with Chitra. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thank you.
I haven't seen you for a long time.
It is, yes. It's been a long time, and with the coronavirus pandemic, it's a little more challenging for all of us.
It's very challenging. Yeah, but thank you very much. It's lovely to see you.
It's a pleasure.
It's a lovely sort of twang to the to your Chat with Chitra. Sounds good.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good.
So you are the founder of Wassup, Walsall Against Single-Use Plastic. And this is to raise awareness amongst the communities to decrease the use of plastic in their organizations and households. And I feel personally it is especially prevalent in today's world with the pandemic because this has amplified the medical waste. The magnitude of PPE like masks and plastic wrapping, which is being discarded every day, has an incredibly negative impact on the environmental footprint. Wassup is also involved in clearing the plastic debris in the canals and the rivers on a rota basis with the help of scouts, school children, and the community. So what actually prompted you to start this wonderful initiative, Professor Gatrad?
I actually, I've written this in the book, in my autobiography, that I've been doing a lot of charity work around the world. My primary bits of my life have been my medical work, because I'm a pediatrician. But over the last 25 years, I've been involved with a really very inspirational man called Mr. Muhammad Aslam. And working with him over the last 25 years, I've been helping with him in different countries with humanitarian and medical aid. But coming to your question, I was in Malawi and I broke my leg at that time. And during one of these humanitarian visits, and when I came back to the UK, I was wondering whether I'd be able to walk. And I thought that I might be able to do something or should do something. Wassup was prompted by a program by David Attenborough on television. And this was in 2017. So this idea came to me whilst I was in hospital, and it's slowly grown and taken root. And now, it's really gone global.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, but you see, the four main principles of it are very simple. And I think you alluded to some of them. And that is that, first of all, it's raising awareness. And even through your program, the Wassup would be raising awareness of the plastic tide that is overtaking this world. And if we don't do something about it, in 2050 there'll be more plastic in the ocean than there'll be fish. So that's the first thing, is awareness. And secondly, is about education. And you yourself have to be educated well in the plastic sense and the environment sense to be able to impart that information to schools. So we have to go into schools. I've been into about 60, 70 schools, and into various faith organizations, into various corporates to talk about Wassup. And then you get them involved in litter picking. And litter picking basically is broken up into two. One is about picking litter in the streets, and that is usually done by schools. And the school, in fact, adopt streets so that they can keep those two streets clean near their street, which I think is a good focus for them. And the second thing, which is interesting for schools and for your viewers, would be that Wassup is attached to two big brands. One is the Commonwealth Games, and the other one is the Miss England pageant. So the Commonwealth Games, we are involved with doing the 2022 challenge of litter picking with loads and loads of schools. So they need to collect 2,022 bags by June 2022. So that's a challenge for them. With the Miss England pageant, it's very fortunate that I came to know Angie Beasley, one of the only director of Miss England. And she invited me to invite all her Miss England finalists to join the Wassup campaign.
Right.
So now we've got these girls working right from Durham right up to Dorset and Southampton. So all these young ladies are expounding the principles of Wassup. So the second principle is education, and in this, the two brands that I mentioned to you are involved. The third bit is picking litter, as I mentioned to you earlier. Litter picking is in schools and canals. The canal cleaning is largely with Canal and Rivers Trust. And this is where we get secondary schools involved. We get many corporates involved, such as McDonald's and WHG, HomeServe, etc. And lastly, is putting pressure on corporates. The only way you can do it is by taking their staff to work with you so they can go back and put pressure. So there's only four principles.
Amazing. I mean, it is high time that we create this awareness in order to keep our society clean. I know you started this initiative in Walsall. I'm sure it has gone past Walsall to Coventry and other
Yes,
neighboring.
indeed. It's gone into various places in the UK, apart from the fact that the Miss England girls are doing it in their own way in places like York, for example. We've had official launches in Coventry, Worcester, and also they'll be having one in Leicester very soon. And we'll be having one in Nottingham, York, etc. So that's being sort of scuppered by the fact that we've got COVID.
Yes.
But having said that, I think, where there's a will, there's a way. And I think we have to do this. And in time, it will happen.
Absolutely. I think it would be equally inspiring for, especially the school children, that they will be quite motivated and they will have a sense of achievement. Yes, they are working towards a good purpose in addition to their academic curriculum.
I think it's for the future generation, isn't it? I think what we are doing basically is a generational game.
Yeah.
I don't think things are going to change tomorrow.
Mm.
If we can educate the young children, particularly in primary schools,
Mm.
then they will grow up as responsible adults. So hopefully, when they are bigger, they will be able to protect the world that has been given to us and of which we've made a hell of a mess. This planet is in a mess. This planet is on life support. And I think it needs oxygen, literally, to be able to survive. And I think getting through to children through their own curriculum, Key Stage 2, Key Stage 3, is very important. And I'm hoping that these girls that are working with me, they can get into the schools and give them messages on Key Stage 2, 3 onwards. So yes, I think it's a big undertaking. It's a simple undertaking, which has got no financial sort of implications. It just means education.
Absolutely. And I think it's a gradual process, as you rightly said. And in the coming years, I'm sure there will be a very, very positive impact, especially in the younger generations to follow. And with that, keeping that in mind, I'm sure we will hope to have a clearer and better environment in the coming years.
Sure. I think, well, importantly, the success of Wassup is a lot of volunteers because nobody gets paid in Wassup. Nobody gets in my charity called Midland International Aid Trust. So this is all a voluntary work, but we are all passionate. We enjoy what we do. And I think because we enjoy what we do, things happen.
Absolutely.
And through networking, obviously, things happen as well.
A good citizen is always an asset to our society. I do believe in a good upbringing, which involves parents instilling good values and norms in children. Now, do you think upbringing plays an important role in one's life as well? How has your upbringing shaped your personal perspective of life?
Actually, how long have you got? That's the important thing. I think what parents do for you is absolutely, you can't even describe it. I think the very fact that it chokes you to talk about this. The very fact they taught you to love, you love. Okay, I think that's probably the most important way of answering your question. But I think if you look at it in a realistic sort of, I suppose, in an earthly way, education. Yeah, those are crucial. But education thrown in with the love of parents, love from parents, and then allowing you to grow socially, for example, through sport and all that sort of stuff. I think that's probably the most important thing. I think, to actually allow you to grow.
Fantastic. Yes, you rightly said that love, education. Because education, I feel, also refines a person. It makes them instill a sense of responsibility in them.
That's true. You see, when we look at education, I look at it in the widest sense, because if one is educated oneself, you realize the importance of education. And that's why when I travel around the world, I instill into people the fact that education, particularly of girls and women, will actually educate their children, and that will give them a life. You see, I mean, there is a saying which is, you know, do not give fish, but ask people to learn how to fish. Okay, so that is important. So I think in everything we do, that's what we should be trying to do. Rather than feed, give them some things that they can learn in the future how to get their roti from what they are doing.
Very inspiring. We all know music is a great form of relaxation. It helps us to reduce our stress and anxiety. And personally, as a musician, I feel, it has got a lot of therapeutic effect in the kind of the ragas, melodies, which we call in the technical musical term.
Yeah.
Has a great therapeutic effect on the human mind and body. It has been medically proved as well. And I also know that you are an avid fan of Bollywood classics. I remember seeing you at one of our charity events. I could see you thoroughly enjoying all the old classics of Kishore Kumar and Rafi Saab. So how has music helped you over the years? Do you listen to music often?
Well, not so much the modern music.
Right.
I think I don't see that many new films at all, Bollywoods. But
Right.
I've enjoyed Bollywood films. I still enjoy a lot of older Bollywood music. And when I do come across some new ones, there are some new songs I like as well. But, oh, crikey, you know, Lata Mangeshkar and Asha Bhosle and Kishore Kumar and Rafi, you know. I mean, those are iconic. I would, if I was to do, if I was, say, having an event, to going to a wedding or something, and then there was this, shall we say, invitation to go to music,
Yeah.
I would rather go and listen to the music. I absolutely love it.
Music does have a positive impact on all of us, right? And we do have a certain personal favorite, which will always remain etched in our memories.
Okay, if I was going to call for one song for Rafi, I would say probably Suhani Raat is probably an easy one for me to remember on the spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Enough. Rahe Na Rahe is a fantastic song. Yeah, I think there are loads of them. I mean, I can't choose, honestly. Loads.
Yeah.
They're all my favorites.
I can't agree more because I do listen to a lot of music besides classical music, which is where I've been trained.
Absolutely, yeah, sure.
Bollywood music has always been my favorite, and as you say, there are so many classics, so many favorites, and it's very difficult to
absolutely.
number.
I totally agree with you. But coming back to the therapy, music therapy, that's very important, because I think music has been shown, as you said, in helping dementia, etc., etc. And I'm sure if I do become demented, and you put one of those four people, and if I was never smiling, you'll certainly get a smile, I think, from putting that music on. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. I have worked with people with Alzheimer's and dementia, and as you said, the smile on their face gives you the utmost satisfaction, which cannot be equal to anything. No. So
Absolutely.
you are a visionary in your own right. You're a successful medical practitioner, author, educator, and a humanitarian. Have you still got any untraveled paths? What's next for you, Professor Gatrad?
I'm 74 now. So I think the way I look at it is I ask the Lord to give me work until my life ends, and life till my work is done. Okay? I think that, in a sense, is one way of looking at it. But I've had my 5-year plan in my life. I do things for 5 years. Okay? Even lieutenancy, I did the lead lieutenant for 5 years.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
The only thing that I've not done for 5 years has been my MIAT work, Middle and International Aid Trust, that I started in 2002, and it still goes on. But I've done postgraduate work, I've done clinical director work, I've written papers 5 years again, I've written books over 5 years, uh, and lieutenancy will be 5 years. Wassup will also be 5 years, you see, because by the time I've reached 5 years, right, I'll be 76. And then I don't know whether I have the energy to do it, but I would hopefully have succeeded in doing something.
Amazing. That's so very inspiring to all our viewers also, I'm sure, yes. What is that one piece of advice you received when you were younger and that has helped you to be who you are, to achieve who you are today?
I think I alluded to saying that don't wait till tomorrow.
Mm.
Yeah, but learn and do things today quickly. I think one of the things I would say is that, there is a saying that, if you stand on somebody's shoulder, you can actually see further. So I think learning from people, listening to people, and perhaps, analyzing what they're saying. It doesn't mean all that they say is true, but there will be certain bits that you'll be able to take on board. And if you take one or two things on board from wise people, so life is about, in terms of, shall we say, the way the brain works, life is about two things. It's about knowledge and wisdom. Yeah. A lot of people can be very clever and, they could do the Einstein theory, but they might not have the wisdom to be able to impart that theory to other people and tell them and ask them to believe in what you are doing. So I think wisdom and knowledge, if you got both of them, I think over a period of time, if both of them increase, then I think your impact, not only to your life, but the lives of others, would be huge.
So inspiring, so true. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have had so many successes all your life. What does success actually mean to you?
I think initially, I think like everybody else, you just feel, yeah, I've done it.
Mm.
And some people don't like you because of your success. But I think success tends to breed success. Yeah. And success sometimes, I think over the years, certainly over the last 15 years or so, I'm always looking at success to say, where is it now going to take me? Let me give you an example. My views over the last 15 years or so have been largely to try and help women and girls in terms of empowering them through education, we mentioned, through vocational training, making sure you get toilets for girls in places like Gambia, Malawi, Kashmir, so that they can go to school. And how do you get them to school in other ways? What makes them not go to school? Girls have periods and they don't want to go to school. So I've got in 3 countries, Malawi, India, 4 countries actually, Malawi, India, Gambia, and Pakistan, where we've got sewing machines. So these sewing machines do two things. First of all, they train people on how to sew so that they can make a living. So we've got trainers. The latest one in Patna, for example. So we actually make sanitary pads for girls that are reusable so they can actually go to school. But now that COVID has come in, these people are making non-plastic,
Ah,
non-plastic face masks made of cloth that are reusable. And certainly in India, we are giving 1 million masks to people that to people so that they can actually get out of the homes because they can't sometimes.
yes, yes.
Okay. So in terms of, again, the success, I think the success to me is trying to alter and change people's lives for the better. And if you can just hone in on the women and girls, let me give you an example. If you can actually operate and get a girl's face better from cleft lip and palate or from club feet, then you change the life, because what happens is
mm,
that any disability, even deafness, in poor countries, big families, they, food is in short supply. Yeah, you are expected to go out to work. And if there is a disabled person not going out to work, that person is handicapped literally, because might not get food, might not get the best clothes, etc., etc. So, so I think in order to prevent this young lady going onto the streets, and the way we're going to sort them out beforehand is to get the hearing sorted out, get the disability sorted out, which is cleft lip, or even visual disabilities. So any of these disabilities affect your going into school, affect your marriage, affect your joining society. And if they get into the streets, they're going to be exploited. They're going to be trafficked. Okay, they're going to be going to prostitution. Easy money for them, perhaps, right? But this way, we get the girls educated, and you will educate a nation. Okay, so that's what we should be doing, to get the women sorted out so that we can get the education, give them a living so that they can get their children educated.
And you're making them confident also. Big.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and men in these countries, because a lot of the countries are patriarchal, to get a woman to actually be educated, the men feel threatened. And this is why when I go for education, and being a medical person, I've got that advantage, particularly with small newborn babies. I mean, it'll surprise you to know, or might not surprise you to know, that if there is a 1 degree drop in temperature in a newborn baby, the chances of survival immediately fall by 10%.
Oh, really?
So if there are 100 babies, temperature of 36.5 or 37, and it drops by 1 degree, 10% will die. So something simple that you can do in these countries is to wipe the baby, because as the baby is wet when he's born, water evaporates and the baby gets cold. This is a principle of physics. Yeah, something evaporates, leaves something cold behind. So these babies get very cold. Even in a hot country, babies feel cold. You could be swimming in Dubai hot water. You come out, you'll feel cold. Yeah. So these babies have come out from a warm environment and they are cold. So what we want to do is to wipe them and ask the mums to hug them, keep them warm. And that saves so many lives. 1 million babies die unnecessarily throughout the world in the first 24 hours. And that is something we should be stopping. This is why education from the medical angle, simple education for developing poor resource countries is so, so important. And I've got, fortunately, people that go out to do this work for me and with me sometimes.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, very true. I mean, medically, I'm not qualified enough to comment on that, but when I hear, stories like these, I mean, I feel all the more inspired. It motivates me. Yes, there is so much more for all of us to accomplish in our lives, and even though we might be going through some challenging, rough patches in our life, I feel that we must never let go or let go off our objectives or goals in our life. And as
Yeah,
you said, success is a very relative term. What is success to me may not be success to you.
yeah, yeah.
And to me personally, I feel success is a sense of accomplishment. Not need not be necessarily in in the monetary terms, but I always measure my way of success. How I measure is what I was 5 years back and what I am today. So
No, I know myself. You how well you've done. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. No, no.
that's because I've been very fortunate to have mentors like you and Dr. Sababali Ji. So
Yeah, I mean, I've done very little, to be honest. I mean, I've just been your lovely friend. You've been my lovely friend. But apart from that, I don't think I've done anything to get you out there.
during the
Yeah, no. But I mean, Paul Sapabati probably has had a lot of influence on you, I'm sure. I'm sure. But I think importantly, you see, Chitraji, I think we all of us have to remember what Abraham Lincoln said, which is that you come with me and I'll walk faster. I will walk forward all the time, but I'm not going to walk backwards. Yeah. So even with Wassup, you see, a lot of people, and I quote this. I say, if you are with me, I'll jog and run. If you're not with me, I'm going to walk, but I'm not going to go backwards. Okay. And that is Abraham Lincoln. Okay. So there are lots of, I mean, people inspire you in different ways. I mean, there's this particular word, you talked about accolades, and I'll read this out to you. With this accolades, Lord, enable me to help those in difficulty, be kind to those in need, and sympathetic to those whose hearts are sore and sad. That, I think, really in a nutshell, is what I think we should all be aiming for.
It's been such a very inspiring chat today, Professor Gatra. How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
A hard worker who will persevere. I won't give up. Yeah, and I think, and believing in yourself.
What's the funniest thing you have seen a kid do?
I think the very fact that they have such abstract play in the way they do things, and how they, for example, portray. We go, for example, hunting for bears in our garden area, that they come up with to say, oh, this must be the bear's poo when you see a large stone or something.
What's something that everyone agrees we should change, but somehow it never changes?
I think focusing a person's mind and rethinking environment. This planet is an amanat. It's been given to us. We are the custodians of the planet. And I don't think that we are doing it any favors. And we should take it seriously. Every single human being. Climate change, which will have a huge impact on our lives. And I think there's one thing we can focus on, which is easy to do, rather than have a reaction as we did with COVID. Yeah, we were prepared, we thought, and we were not prepared. Okay, and then now we are actually reacting to say, I think we should be doing this because this has happened. So I think with this, we should be proactive. We should be learning from each other, well, simple education about the environment that we can put together, but we have to educate ourselves, enthuse people to join us in what we are doing, and let us refocus on making sure that our planet is actually safe from ourselves.
So true, so true. Yes. What was cool when you were young, but it isn't cool now?
What is cool when I was young? I think playing marbles at school. And we didn't have, I mean, a lot of us didn't have marbles at school. So we used to play with little berries.
Okay.
But that used to be cool. And I wasn't very good at it, but there was a friend of mine who was very good at it. So there used to be a little sort of hole in the ground where we used to roll the marble, and it would get into the ground. And if it gets into the ground, fine. If it doesn't get into the ground, if somebody else gets it into the ground, then he takes your marble. Okay.
Right.
So that's how you won your points. Yeah, that's not cool. Marbles are something that has never come. The other thing was carom board. Carom board is another thing that we used to play a lot, which I think they play in India, but not so much in this country. And I think it's something that perhaps carom board might even become an Olympic game one day. We don't know. Yeah. Somebody's got to introduce it. You could do it, Chitraji.
I hope so. Yes. That's actually a good thought to ponder over. Yes. What outdoor activity you haven't tried but would like to?
So an outdoor activity, I think, to me, would be something I would like to do is go to the lakes and walk around the lakes. Would be a very inspiring, I think, journey for me. But if you're talking about an indoor activity, I could easily tell you one. Mm-hmm. And that is, I would love to play either the piano or the violin.
Oh,
that would be something I really would want. If I was to do it again, all over again, that's something I would do in my 5-year plan, for sure.
Right. Okay.
I could still do it, perhaps, yeah.
Fantastic.
I might have to come to you for some lessons.
But I'd love to hear you play the violin or the piano sometime.
I haven't got a clue. I'm completely and totally, tone deaf.
Right.
For sure, fact. Although I love this music we talked about earlier, totally tone deaf. I wouldn't know do, re, mi, whatever.
love or money?
Love or money? Love's comfort first.
Working alone or working in a team?
So there are people like, I suppose, crabs who draw you down and bring you down. Okay. So I think you have to be bloody minded sometimes to be able to do these things. Answer to your question is it's got to be a team. No question about it.
Yes, yes, so true. And this now brings us to the end of this wonderful and inspiring chat show. I would like to wish Wassup and the team all the success in the years to come. And I would be delighted to be of any help. You have my phone number. You can always please reach me in case you feel I can be of any help with this project. I feel, yes, I have lots more to accomplish in my life. And with all your blessings and your guidance, I really want to take this forward and try to be successful.
You know, I think success is measured by
Yeah.
different people in different ways.
Yeah.
I think everybody, the very fact that one is a good human being, and even a cat that is struggling to cross the road, yeah, if you take that cat across the road, that makes you feel good. What did you get out of it? You didn't get any money out of it, but you got the pleasure of saying, yeah, I saved that cat. Okay. So I think, different people are different in what they do. And that is a success, having got that cat across the road. Okay. But in your particular case, I think one has got to look at what assets one's got. And your assets are perhaps a lot of the network you've got. Your assets are you going to schools. Okay. So I look at it this way. From the Wassup point of view, you go into schools, you can take the Wassup message there with your music. So I think there's so many different ways we can do what you mentioned to me, what one thing there is that you want human behavior to change.
Yeah.
And I always focus at this time of my life to the children of the future. Okay. My job at one point, yeah, was to bring children safely into the world, which was when I was delivering babies. Then for many, many years, I've looked after children that have been sick, right? The last bit of my life, I want to make sure that the children that are going to come into the world are safe.
Amazing, amazing. Yes, you've given a very, very valuable suggestion here, which I would be delighted to take. So thank you so much, Professor Gatra.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me, and I hope it's not been too boring.
Not at all. It was very inspiring, and I'm sure our viewers also will find it equally inspiring and motivated. Thank you
Thank
for
you so
your
much.
time.